Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chris Irving and I am going to try to give you the ultimate guide to Kratom. I'm going to talk to you today about the strains, what the strains are, what a strain means. Then I'm going to tell you about the names based on a color and a location, which we'll go over. And then I'm going to go over how to ingest Kratom. There's several different ways you can take Kratom. So first off, we're going to talk about the strains, which is going to be based on the color of, like when somebody says, what strain of Kratom are you having? There's three different main strains. There's a red, which you can see in the next slide, in the next picture, a red vein going down the middle of the leaf. The brighter that red, the stronger the red vein is. Then there's a green vein, which is, again, instead of it being red, it's going to be bright green. And then there's a white vein, and that means the leaf, the spine that goes right down through the middle of the leaf, is going to be white. And each one of those strains does a different thing. For instance, red strains tend to be very, very good for pain relief. I mean, of all the strains, I've found that red strain gets rid of pain the best. Red strain is also good for euphoria. I love a good red strain euphoria. It lasts a while because I always have a cup. I mean, I've got a cup with me right now. And if you could see it, you would see that it is a very red tea because I use a very strong red vein Kratom. And then you got the green strain. Green strain is green for go. Green strain for some people gives them a lot of energy. When I would study for my graduate exams and stuff, I would drink a lot of green because green would give me stamina, focus, and another cool idea is if you mix green and red together, that's called black. So just mixing a scoop of green and a scoop of red together, you stir it up, and then you've got a black strain, which is it's kind of a secret. Not really a secret, but it's kind of a cool idea to have a black strain. And what that does is it gives you the best of the red and the best of the green. So you get the euphoria of the red and green, which can be intense, which can be as intense as an opiate euphoria. You feel warm, you feel nice, you feel comfortable, you feel relaxed. And that's in fact what I'm drinking right now, so I can talk slowly and make sure I give you all the information correctly. White strain. White strain to me has been a mystery because they say white is a stimulant. I've never noticed. For me, everybody's different, but for me, a white strain has not given me any kind of energy. To me, I'll take a couple of white strain before I go to bed because it relaxes me. All Kratom releases pain, so I mean that's just a given. And some Kratoms make you feel energetic, and some make you feel relaxed. White to me relaxes me, but it's my least favorite of all the. In fact, I don't have any white Kratom right now. Then people try to get fancy and they say, I want to have a red Malay or a red Borneo. And so when they say that, the second word they're saying is where the strain came from. Like Bali, it's coming from somewhere in Southeast Asia. And the effects of that are, it's very euphoric, the most like an opiate you're going to get. So a red Bali is going to give you a good euphoria. So when you order your Kratom, you're going to have a choice. What color do you want it to be and where do you want it to come from? For instance, there's Bali, Cali, Thai. Thai means it comes from Thailand, and Thailand leaves are pretty strong. I mean, Thai It used to be illegal in Thailand, but now it's legal. And it was illegal in Thailand because Thailand made a lot of money off of their poppy, off of their opium. And all the people that were addicted to poppy started using kratom because it's just as good, and it's not illegal, and it doesn't have all the addictive qualities that kratom that opiates have. So the government said, hey, we're losing money, fuck this, let's get rid of kratom. And they tried to make kratom illegal, and they weren't very successful at it because it's a tree that grows wild in Thailand. And so farmers would grow these trees, and they could make more money selling kratom leaves to Americans and to other people throughout the world than they could poppy seeds. And because there were so many other poppy farmers. And where you find kratom trees, you're going to find rubber trees. So a lot of rubber farmers would sell kratom on the side. Actually, in Thailand, it's called Kratom. Like Tom is emphasized with a. That's just how they speak in Thailand, I suppose. A lot of green comes from Malay. So you'll say, I want a green Malay. And green Malay means it's coming from Malaysia. And so when you go to a kratom shop and you see a whole wall full of different strains, there'll be a chart next to it saying, okay, well, kratom from Malaysia is stronger in pain relief, or because then there's a strain called Mang Da. Mang Da it's a joke. I mean, what that means is it's translated into the pimp's grade, and the pimp's grade is supposed to be the one to get the best grade. So when they sell you Mang Da, they can jack up the price and call any kratom they want Mang Da. Like my green is supposed to be Mang Da green, and it just means it's the darkest green vein, and it's supposed to be the highest quality and the strongest. To tell you the truth, I've never noticed a difference, and I wouldn't spend more for Mang Da. It's just a title that they put on it so that to make kratom people think. So the countries that this stuff comes from is Thailand, and you're gonna hear it called Thai, like red Thai. Malaysia is Malay. Indo, I'm gonna get some Indo green. A green Indo, that just means it's coming from Indonesia. The Philippines also have kratom trees. And Vietnam, you're not going to find a whole lot from Vietnam though, because they don't export as much as Thailand, Malaysia, and Bali. Okay, now my favorite part. You're going to see pictures of ways to ingest kratom. The first picture you're going to see is ground leaf. It's all it is that the leaf is dried, and then they went and they crushed it up in a crushed leaf, and they put it in a bag, and they mail you that crushed leaf. That's the way I used to do it, and I used to put it in a strainer and just pour boiling water over it, or I would put it in a French press and pour boiling hot water over it, press it to make sure all the leaves stayed in the French press, and just let it steep for as long until I got it as green or as red as I wanted it to be. Then the newest form right now, this is how most people are getting their kratom, is in a powder. So this next form, you're going to see 3 different spoons, each red, green, and white, and they're all powders. And powders are especially useful because they digest the easiest. They get to the brain. They get through the blood-brain barrier the fastest. And that's my kratom is always in a powder. You can put it in a capsule and just pop capsules. To me, that does nothing. That just makes me sick eating raw kratom. It just makes my stomach feel nauseous, and it tastes terrible. And so some companies think they're being fancy by selling you in head shops. They'll just put a gram, usually it's about a gram of kratom per per little capsule. So you're eating five, you know, you're not supposed to have more than 5 or 6 grams a day. When I show you in next week's video how I make my tea, I'll show you how much 5 grams is versus a gram. And my favorite type, the next picture you're going to see, is a tea. And that's what I drink. I drink tea all day long because tea, I can control how much, you know, when I start to feel the euphoria, I can keep that euphoria going by taking another sip. Right now I'm feeling pretty good. My pain from my neck down is gone. I am one that suffers from chronic pain because, as you can see, my left arm was affected by a stroke, and it is in a constant state of stricture. It means I can't straighten it, and it locks, and it hurts. When you see little children with cerebral palsy and their muscles are all clenched up like this, they are in pain. I mean, there's no doubt about it, they're in pain. Because only one of my arms and my leg is cramped up like that, and I'm in pain all the time. So I can't imagine the pain that these poor little children with cerebral palsy go through, and adults in their life, because muscle relaxants don't work, but Kratom does. Kratom, my arm is now relaxed, and you can, if you're looking at me straight on, you can see my shoulder drops down more compared to this one. But for the most part, I feel normal. I don't have that constant gnawing ache, and my migraines start in my neck and they come forward, and I was born with chronic, by the time I hit puberty, about 12 years old, I was having migraines every single day. Turned out I was allergic to a lot of foods like chocolate. I'd have some chocolate and I'd have a migraine and wonder why. So I lost girlfriends because my migraines were so bad all the time. I always had a headache. Oh, it's Chris, he must have a headache again. And the only thing that really cured it was when I was on stage, because I was a musician for a long time and I stayed on stage a lot. And that would make my headaches go away. And it was probably because I was in a state of flow. I mean, just focusing on what I was playing, and it was a great release. And Kratom. I took my first cup of Kratom, it gave me this jolt of energy, and I was like, yeah, and I'm doing push-ups like an idiot, you know, and all of a sudden I noticed, wow, I don't have a headache. And since I started drinking Kratom, I have not had one fucking migraine, and it has been amazing. I have friends who have fibromyalgia, and they drink 2 cups of tea in the morning, and they can deal with the day. The fibromyalgia pain just melts away, and it makes your body feel numb, just like you took a hydrocodone or morphine. More like morphine. Because I noticed that after I have a good cup of Kratom tea, I get a little itchy. You know, morphine gives you that morphine itch, and it's fucking with the same part of your brain that opiates react. It's called mitragyna speciosa, and there's alkaloids in it, and the mitragyna alkaloids bind to the neurotransmitters in your brain, making it think that you're taking morphine, and it's wonderful. And so not only do you get the pain relief, you get it's a very mild euphoria. It's not like you're going to go out there and be like, yeah, dude, what's up? Whoa. I mean, it's a mild euphoria. I mean, I don't even notice the euphoria anymore. It's not like I get high off of it. It's just, I get high off the fact that I'm not hurting. And there's a new way that it's coming out that I just noticed called tinctures. And it's just Kratom, the alkaloids in a little jar with a little dropper. And stick 2 or 3 drops under your tongue. I've not tried it yet. I'm going to order some and try it, and I'll try it right on video and let you see how it works. And like I said, next week I'm going to show you how I make my tea, and I've become a pro at it because I make it all day long. It takes me about 3 minutes to make a cup of tea. I'll show you all the stuff that you need to do it. So to sum up, there's 3 main strains: red, green, and white, and black. Black is nothing but red and green mixed together. I recommend that while you're experimenting with your kratom, mix some strains, mix white and green together and see how it makes you feel. Mix red and green together and make you see how it feels. Because what works for me is going to work differently for you. We all have different brains. My brain has a hole in it the size of my fist right here from a massive stroke I had. It's amazing I can talk. And I got through graduate school because I had kratom and coffee. Kratom and coffee. That's another great thing. You try kratom and coffee. Have a cup of tea and then have a cup of coffee. Kratom and coffee come from the same family, so they complement each other very well. You get the euphoria. Caffeine increases the euphoria, increases the stimulant effects of it, and you can focus. I mean, I was writing 100-page papers for graduate school, all due to kratom and coffee. And you notice this is a huge cup, because if I had kratom in a regular size cup, I'd be drinking 6 or 7 cups a day. Now I can carry this around for 20-30 minutes and just keep sipping off of it. I don't know if you've noticed, but my speech has increased a little bit. I mean, I'm starting to get a little bit high from it, and it's nice. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not a scientist. I'm just someone who had chronic pain, chronic migraines, a stroke, and who knew somebody who introduced me to this thing called Kratom. And I watched all the videos, the YouTube videos. Some of them are crap, some of them are semi-useful, but it all amounts to the thing. The strain is the color, and where it comes is that Malay, Bali, Thai. You know, I mean, that you can look it up online. I mean, there's charts that say Malay is this, adds this to the strain. Take that with a grain of salt, because some scientist there's no science. Nobody really studies kratom. It's all just based on users' like me, mine experiences. And I recommend you experiment too. They said people die from kratom. They've died because they were taking opiates at the same time, and they overdosed on opiates, but they had a cup of kratom at the same time. So maybe the two interacted together poorly, I don't know, but drug addicts die. And kratom is a drug. It's as much of a drug as coffee. You can't not say coffee is a drug, because coffee is a drug. It alters your mind, it gives you stimulation and energy. So quitting kratom is like quitting coffee. It'll give you headaches, it'll make you feel you'll miss it. You know, you'll miss that mild euphoria that you don't even know that you have.